So you're obviously not trying to be broke, right? That's why you clicked on this video. So we have Jeffrey, right? Let me give you two examples. We have Jeffrey in one hand. He doesn't invest. He lives paycheck to paycheck. He kicks the can down the road. He says, "Oh, I'll just invest later. I'm not gonna retire anytime soon. Anyways, I still have my whole life to live." And time flies. His life just flies. Like next you know it, he's 40 years old. He's 50, and he hasn't invested a penny. Next you know it, he gets to the age of retirement. He's depending on Social Security to bail him out. He's depending on the government. We have Adonis on the other hand. Adonis is a strong, smart individual. He starts investing as soon as he starts working. He gets a portion of that check and invests in himself. He pays himself first before he pays anyone else. He invests. He lets the investments compound over time. Next you know, he's 40, 50 years old. He retires early. He retires at 40, 50 years old. He has his family all set up. He doesn't have to worry about getting laid off, about losing his job. He has all his investments pay his lifestyle. Let me tell you a story, right? I work construction. I work with around a lot of different men. I remember it was actually it was a summer day. We were around 6 in our crew, and our supervisor was around his late 40s. He was telling us about his lifestyle. He was actually giving us financial advice, right? He was trying to give us some financial advice, especially he was the old head there. He was the oldest man there, considered the wisest, right? Older men are wise. So he starts telling us how to manage our money, how to raise our credit score, financial advice. So I start hearing in, right? We're all in a circle. He's telling us about, how to raise your credit score, where to place your money, this and that, right? So I start actually listening. So now imagine all these men in a circle, right? We're all listening to this supposedly wise old man, right? So he starts talking about, I hear him say, "Yeah, I got 3 car payments. One of them is $1,200 a month. $1,200 a month? You know what $1,200, that's what most rent is out here. You go rent an apartment with that type of money, and you have that as a car payment. That's just one vehicle out of 3 you have paying. Not only that, he was telling us that he has 5 credit cards. He's paying them all with a 25% interest rate. As soon as I heard that, I was like, I was amazed. I was like, I can't believe this man is giving these people advice. When I never really, not really, like, I asked him a question. I was like, by the way, what's your credit score? You have a lot of credit lines. What's your credit score? I'm wondering. He hits me with, I'm in the low 600s. I was amazed. I was actually pretty stunned. I was like, 600 credit score. I'm not trying to like boast or anything, but I'm only 22 years of age, and I have a 755 around there, 755 credit score. So I was like, whoa, this guy is not. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And the thing is that all these different men, they're all actually taking advice from him. And I'm like, he doesn't know what he's talking about. That is not good financial advice. He was financially illiterate. So a financially illiterate person giving that type of advice really put me to think, right? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. So that's why I'm gonna share with you 5 tips that have helped me with my finances, right? So, of course, number 1, if you want anything that has to do with finances, your first step you should do is budget. Budget. I use this to budget. I use my just regular pen and paper. I use how much money I made that month, how much I spent that month, and my total cash flow, which is expenses. Income minus expenses. So I put how much I wasted on bills, how much wasted on gas, food, all of that. I point it down to the penny, right? and then I sum my net worth at the end of the month and see what percentage it grew, month after month, right? Actually, in March right now, I had probably one of my best months. My net worth grew 13.78%. So back then, I did not budget. When I did not budget, I did not know where my money was going to. I felt, by the end of the month, I felt lost. I felt like I did not progress much in life, right? By the end of the month, I would be wondering where my money go. I just got paid Friday, or this. I would be literally wondering where did it go, because by the end of the month, I didn't have much. So I needed to change my life quick. Like, I was not gonna be living like that. I needed to budget myself. I needed to know where my money was going to. So I started looking at my bank statements, right? So I started building this habit. By the end of every month, I get my expenses down to the penny. And I believe that if you aren't unable to manage your $2,000 to $3,000 that you make a month, you will never be able to manage the 10, 15, $20,000 that you could possibly make in the future if you really work hard and you really get to that point. So it's better to manage little money, and then later on in life try to manage big money and not know how to manage it, right? It's a good habit to build over time, right? So my next tip is pay off any high interest debt. Any student loans you got, credit card loans, auto loans, you name it. I was in a point in my life where I actually took a a vehicle, right? I was I was making all right money. I wasn't making a lot of money though. So I believed I had made it, right? I want to treat myself with a brand new truck. I went and brought myself a. It wasn't new. It was probably like 2 3 years behind the newest year. But I was like, oh, I want to go. I deserve this and that. No, that's all bullshit. You don't fucking deserve it. You need to work harder. You need to. You're just starting. You're catching little. You're catching that mountain, and you think you deserve something good. Goes downhill. It happened to me. I was there. I was basically paying, living for that truck. I was a slave to that truck. All my checks were going to that truck payment. So I learned from those mistakes, and that's why I want to tell y'all these mistakes so y'all don't have to live it, because I felt worthless. I felt like I wasn't doing nothing with my life but paying off that truck, paying out. That was a whole liability I had, until I started getting more financially literate. I started realizing what I was doing, and that was not taking me nowhere. I had nothing to prove. I wanted to show my success to people, when in reality I was broke. I was broke. So I got rid of that. I got rid of that truck. I ended up managing my stuff. Got rid of it. It was the best, probably the best financial decision I've done. The worst and best, right? Because it really set me back a lot. A lot of thousands of dollars that I could have. My net worth would have been way higher, right? Of course, it didn't. I don't regret it. You learn from your mistakes, right? So try to stay your best out of debt. You have any student loans, try to pay them as fast as possible. That's money that you get 100% return on, right? If you pay off your student loans, you're getting 100% return on. That's how I think of it, right? So step number 3, or tip number 3, invest and save your money. Pay yourself first. Always follow that rule by religion. Pay yourself first. You get that check, split it. Get a percentage of it and pretend that you didn't see it, right? Save and invest, right? The earlier the better. Build that habit up. Even if you can only do $10, $20, $50 a month, and you're 18, 19, right? That build that habit up. The more money you make, the more you will invest slash save. So it's a habit. And the earlier you start, the earlier your money starts to compound, right? So compound interest is the sixth wonder of the world, I believe, right? It makes wonders, right? Um, so tip number 4, right? Know the difference between rich and wealthy, right? So rich people, they there's a lot of rich people, but and you could tell who's rich, right? Because they're all flashy. They have fancy cars, fancy watches, fancy clothes. You name it, it's out there, right? So uh wealth, on the other hand, wealth is hidden. It's really hard to see who's wealthy and who's not, right? It's you really have to know a person to tell if they're wealthy or not, because wealth is often hidden. It's a way. It's wealthy people don't really want people to know that they're wealthy. They're smart individuals. It's not many of them, and the people that are, they don't show it, right? So wealth is hidden. Difference. Rich, you could tell who's rich, but just because they're rich doesn't mean they're wealthy. All right, so you gotta know the difference between that, and you're trying to be on the wealthy side. Don't try to be on the rich side. Of course, it's good to get rich, but make sure you got that financial literacy. You gotta be smart. Be smart with your money and get wealthy, right? And overall, tip number 5: the main goal to be uh financially uh freed, as I would call it, like you're financially set, is so you can buy back your freedom. That's the ultimate goal on why people do what they do, right? You're literally trying to buy your freedom, right? You want to make enough so you could do what you want. You want to retire early. You want to make enough money to, if you want to tomorrow, you'll go to the Bahamas. If you want to, you'll take a trip to, I don't know, Europe, right? So that's the main goal. So you could buy back your freedom. Because if you don't buy back your freedom, you will live under the rule of someone else. They tell you to go back to work tomorrow, you're gonna have to go to work. They tell you to stay late, you're gonna have to stay late, right? So that's the main goal on why I'll do all this, right? You're trying to buy your freedom back. Freedom, time is your most valuable asset. And I believe you're supposed to teach it that way. So y'all keep on pushing. I'm rooting y'all.